Here we are, it's a Tag Tuesday, and I have another tag video for you. I will be answering the 52 Nifty Bookish Cues tag, originally by Adrian at Stripcover Lit. Stick around to see what my answers to these 52 questions are. Hey y'all, it's Jen, and welcome back to my channel, A First Inklings. This is a tag video, and before we get into the tag, I just want to say that I am not at home. I am in Kansas City right now, and I'm taking advantage of the light here in front of my window and the stunning Kansas City skyline view that I have. I will insert a picture here so you can enjoy it too for a few minutes. So that is why the background, it looks the way it does, but you know, you've got to use your resources wisely, and time is a resource. So I'm using mine to knock out some videos while I have some time away in this beautiful city. So the tag I'm going to be doing is the 52 Nifty Book Cues tag. This is originally by Stripcover Lit, and Adrian did tag me to do this. And I did film this one already. I had been drinking some wine, and I'm not sure I have any actual usable footage. So I'm just gonna redo it here. Let's dive into it, because this is gonna take a while. There's 52 questions. Okay, question number 1. What book are you reading right now? So y'all know me, I'm always in the middle of several books. So I'll tell you what all 3 of them are. I'm currently listening to Golden Sun, which is the second book in the Red Rising series. I'm about halfway through it. On my Kindle, I am still working through The King by J.R. Ward, and I am 76% through that. Hopefully I'll finish it this weekend. And then the physical book I'm currently reading is A Movable Feast by Ernest Hemingway, which was the February book read-along with Stripcover Lit. I had a crazy February, crazy busy, and I am only on page 27. So I also hope to finish up this weekend as well. Question number 2 is, what is the last thing you highlighted? So the last thing I highlighted was on page 19 of A Movable Feast, and that was this. I thought that I had lived in a world as it was, and there were all kinds of people in it, and I tried to understand them, although some of them I could not like, and some I still hated. That just kind of really resonated with me when I read it. Question number 3, what do you plan to read next? As far as audiobooks, I think I'm going to dive into The Flowers of Algernon. And I'll probably listen to that on my way home from Kansas City. Kindle book, I don't know. I've got some arcs I need to dive into. So I'll probably pick one of those up on the Kindle. And then for my physical book, I'm going to start Blood Meridian by Cormac McCarthy. I am participating in a March read-along with a bunch of badass women reading Blood Meridian. Amy at Amy Gets Lit is the catalyst for this group read-along, and she's doing an in-depth video series on it, so several of us were like, hey, that sounds fun. Let's dive into this book too so we can follow along with her. And it just kind of spiraled from there. Question number 4, one fiction writer, living or dead, with which you would like to grab a drink. J. Kristoff, because J. Kristoff. Question 5, one nonfiction writer, living or dead, with which you would like to grab a drink. So I don't actually read a lot of nonfiction. The nonfiction I do read is mostly memoirs, and so I'm going to pick an author of a memoir that I adore, and that would be Anna Kendrick, because she is just adorable, and she is my spirit animal, and I love her, and I think she would be fun to hang out with and grab a drink with. Question 6, one poet, living or dead, with which you would like to grab a drink. Charles Bukowski. Question number 7, one booktuber with which you would like to grab a drink, and that is all of you. I would love to meet and hang out with all of you. Question number 8, Emily Dickinson or Edgar Allan Poe. Edgar Allan Poe. Question 9, Hemingway or Fitzgerald. Well, I'm just now reading my first Hemingway, and I've only read one Fitzgerald, which was The Great Gatsby. So, as of right now, the verdict is still undecided. I'm not loving the Hemingway I'm reading, so I'm going to have to go with Fitzgerald on that. Question number 10, Jane Austen or Charles Dickens? And I would probably go with Charles Dickens, even though I've never read a single book of his. That's how much I dislike Jane Austen. 11, Harris or Hitchens? I don't have any real knowledge of either one of them. 12, Stephen King or Michael Crichton? I've never read anything by Michael Crichton. I've seen, the movies based off his books, so I think I will go with Stephen King on that. I have read several of his books, and while I don't enjoy horror, I do love his book, 11/22/63. Question number 13, Bret Easton Ellis or Chuck Palahniuk? And I guess I'm going to have to go Chuck Palahniuk. I've never read any of Bret Easton Ellis's work. Question 14, Kurt Vonnegut or John Green? And I'm going to have to go with Kurt Vonnegut, even though I've never read any of his works, because I hate John Green that much. 15, Shakespeare's poems or plays, and I'm going to go with plays. 16, Adrian Fort or Dalton Gentry? Really? Really? 17, Cormac McCarthy or J.K. Rowling? And right now I'm going to have to say J.K. Rowling because I hated The Road, but I have high hopes for Blood Meridian, so that could change. 18, Hannibal Lecter or Voldemort? Hannibal Lecter. 19, T.C. Boyle or George Saunders? And I'm going to have to go with T.C. Boyle because I haven't read anything by George Saunders yet. And I have read a T.C. Boyle, and I did enjoy it. 20, good writing or good story? I think I'm going to have to go with good story because I can overlook a lot of bad writing if the story is good. And I'm not a critical reader, and I'm not a writer myself. I'm a numbers person, so I don't pick up a lot of the bad writing that most readers do. But if it's a bad story, I'm DNFing that and moving on with my life. 21, YA or children's lit, and I'm going to go with YA. 22, irony or humor, and I'm going to go with irony because I find a lot of irony humorous. So 23, sci-fi or horror, and I think I would go with sci-fi over horror, although I'm not a fan of really either one. 24, fantasy or nonfiction? Why? I would probably go with fantasy, although I really enjoy some nonfiction too. That's not really a fair question. 25, rather find a new favorite contemporary writer or a new favorite old-time great? New contemporary. 26, sonnet or haiku? Haiku. 27, sestina or villanelle? I had to Google what those were. So, whatever. 28, spend the evening in a library or a bookstore, and I would not mind either one. I guess, I don't know, I guess a bookstore. I don't usually go to my library to sit and read or sit and do anything. I prefer a more familiar setting, where there's no interruptions like my house. 29, magazine or Wikipedia article? I'm gonna go with Wikipedia article, although I do enjoy magazines. They're just not my go-to anymore in this digital age. 30, dictionary or encyclopedia, and definitely encyclopedia. I have mentioned before that I'm an information junkie, and the encyclopedia articles give me more of that information than just what a word from a dictionary would, and I don't retain words like that to be able to use at a later time. I retain words from use and them being reiterated over and over and over again. I can't just pull a random word out and use it in a sentence 3 days later. 31, the writer I would like to write my biography. Any of them? Nobody's writing my biography anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me who writes it. Question number 32, I do or do not highlight in my books. Yes, I highlight in my books. Question 33, I do or do not write in my books. And yes, I do write in my books. Both of those things are things that I've just started recently doing in the last year or so. 34, the earliest memory of a library. And for me, my earliest memory of a library is going to be my elementary school library, where I was sitting in the floor looking at the books on the bottom shelf because I had read all of the other ones and I was trying to find a book I hadn't read yet. 35, the last time I went to the library, that was in December 30th. I went to the library to return a book a graphic novel that I had checked out earlier in the month of December. Question number 36, have you ever accidentally stolen books from the library? Mr. Small, I stole this when I was in 2nd grade. Now, in all fairness, I probably didn't steal it actually. It certainly wasn't intentional. In 2nd grade, I lived in a small town in northeast Arkansas called McCrory. This book is from the Woodruff County Library, which is a branch of the East Central Arkansas Regional Library. This is out of Augusta. And if you see the return date stamped up here, that is February 22nd, 1985. I would have been 8 years old. And when I was 8 years old, we lived in McCrory. Obviously, that's the area that these were in. And my mother injured herself severely and was hospitalized for several weeks up there. And so she ruptured some discs in her spine. So my grandparents came up, packed me up, and moved me back down with them because I was 8 years old and my mother was in the hospital and she was a single mom. I didn't have anybody else up there, so they came down, brought me back down here, and I lived with them, and they enrolled me in school down here. And I'm just assuming that at that time was when I had this checked out and should have returned it, but it made the move with me. I've kept it all these years. I loved these books. I read all of the little ones that I could find. This is by Roger Hargraves? That's a weird... Hargraves. Roger Hargraves. And he's got a whole series of these. There's probably, I don't know, 25 of them. But it's had a little damage over the years. The title page has been ripped. But all the rest of the pages are in here. It's in... I mean, for a book this old, I would say it's in fairly good condition. It's got some wear and tear here. It still has the library thing on it. I don't know. So, I read it. I read it multiple times. I passed it along to my children. My children read it multiple times. And Jillian, it is now lives in Jillian's bookcase, and she's read it multiple times. So I had to borrow it back from Jillian to share with you that the book that I stole when I was 8 years old. 37, ballpark. How many books do you own? Well, I have two. At the end of December, I had 250 something unread books on my shelves. I've added to that in the last couple of months, probably another 20 books to that. And then all my read books are probably double that, or equal number to that. So I would say probably 500-600 books. And that's just books on my bookshelf. That doesn't count any of my reference type books or my coffee table books, and certainly not cookbooks. I got a bunch of those too. 38. How many books do you think would make for a reasonable personal library? As many as you can fit in your house. 39. So there are Sense and Sensibilities and Sea Monsters, Pride and Prejudice and Zombies, etc. How do you feel about the phenomenon? Whatever gets anybody to read. And if it's a Pride and Prejudice with monsters, then more power to them. It's not my genre. I don't really care about the classics, and so I probably would never pick those up, just because I don't care about the classics that they are kind of spin-offs of. But hey, whatever floats your boat. You're not going to get any judgment from me for what you read. 40. A horror trope you would like to see get more love. I don't do horror, so I don't do horror tropes. 41. Something that you think gets underutilized in science fiction. I don't read a lot of science fiction either, so I don't know what's utilized and what's not. I am really enjoying the books that are coming out now, though, that have more of that gaming, alternate reality feel to them, virtual reality. I really enjoy those, and I hope that more, especially YA books, are utilize that trope more. 42. Flash fiction, form of and format of literature, or it's just a short story, you dummy. I'd say it's probably a form of literature. It definitely is a form of short story, but I think it probably is its own category as well. But I'm certainly no expert in all that, so take it for what it is. 43. If you could own one book from all of history, what would it be? I don't collect books like that. The books that I collect are more sentimental for me, so just some random old book, I don't have any desire to own one. 44. Audiobooks, the same as reading? Yes, it is the same as reading. There have been numerous scientific studies that has shown that you're retaining the same information, and a lot of times you will actually retain the information better. I do. My comprehension is a lot better for books that I listen to, especially if they have complex world building, or if they're a nonfiction type book. I am definitely more auditory than visual learning on that. And it's the same damn fucking story. So yes, it's the same thing as reading. You are consuming the book. Whether you're doing it with your ears or with your eyes, it doesn't make a damn bit of difference. And if you disagree, I will fight you on that. Go ahead and at me. 45. The most literary songwriter of your lifetime. I listen to a lot of different artists, a lot of different genres of artists, and all the ones that I'm drawn to are the ones that tell stories with their music and that evoke feelings in me with their music. That's something I can relate to. So this is really hard for me because it's just really hard. I don't have an answer for this at all. 46. What writer embarrasses you the most because you haven't read them? I don't have any of these either. I don't get into that competition of artists or of writers that I should have read, or books I should read, or books that I need to pretend to be reading, or books that I should feel ashamed I have or haven't read. I just don't play those games. I read what I read. I like what I like. If I want to branch out into something new, I will. If I want to stick to the same old, I'm going to do that. I read for me and not for anybody else. So 47. What writer embarrasses you because you've read too much from them? And again, see my previous answer. I'm not ashamed to have read the entire collection of Casey West novels, or the entire collection of J.R. Ward novels, or working my way through Victoria Schwab and J. Kristoff. I'm not embarrassed by that, and I'm not ashamed of it. If I find a writer that I enjoy their writing, I'm gonna read more from them. 48. What is a biography you are looking forward to reading? I actually have two of these, and I have the books at home. It is When Pride Still Mattered, which is the biography of Vince Lombardi. And then Robin, which is the Robin Williams biography. I know that one's going to destroy me inside, and I'm just not ready for it. But I am looking forward to it because I love Robin Williams so much. 49, do you have a dream reading cubby? Yeah, don't we all? I mean, come on. So for me, I want a secluded private library, like preferably one with a secret door. But it has to have some great windows in it because I like the natural sunlight. I like to read by natural light more than anything. And it has to have an amazingly comfortable chair that I can curl up in. I have right now in my living room one of those big barrel chairs that can fit like 15 people in. Okay, like 3 people can sit in it comfortably together. It's a great cuddling chair if you have someone to cuddle with. But I like to wrap up in my blankets and with all my pillows around me and curl up in that chair and read because it is so comfortable. I have been known to sleep in the chair before. It is that comfortable. I also would like kind of like a couch that you could lay out on. Real soft, comfortable, plush couch. And that way you could, have someone else that you could cuddle up with and snuggle with while you read and while they read. And then preferably like a little writing desk in the corner so I could have like my laptop. And if I wanted to spread out and do a little bit more in-depth stuff where writing or highlighting, I like to have a surface to do that on. And of course, it has surrounded by bookshelves and bookshelves and bookshelves. Question 50, the last literary phenomenon that really got your gears grinding. I don't really have one of those, so I am very much a you do you and I'll do me kind of reader, and I'm not judging you. So question 52, what booktuber have you been watching the most recently? And I just binge watched the about 10 videos by Ink Not Blood. I've been subscribed to her for a while, but my notifications weren't on, and so I wasn't getting notified of her posting videos, so I had to go back and remedy that. So I love Ink Not Blood's channel. Emily, she is very charismatic, but not over the top. She knows what she's talking about. She looks like she feels comfortable on the camera, and she is just joined our 30 plus club, and so it's nice to find somebody that I can relate to with the things that she reads, and she's at a point in her life that I can relate to as well. And her videos are fun. You should go check her out. I'll leave her link down below. So that is it for this tag. This leaves me to tag other people to do the 52 Bookish Nifty. The fuck did he name this thing? 52 Nifty Bookish Cues. I'm going to tag some of my new friends that I am. Not all of them are new. Some of them are old, or some of them are previous friends. But I'm going to tag some of my friends that are doing the Blood Meridian group book read with me. And if you've done this, if you've been tagged already, okay, great. I'm sorry if I've missed it. But this is who I'm tagging. Amy Gets Lit, Jamie Reads, The Return Cart, Well Read and Half Dead, Cammie's Corner, and Carissa Quinn. So y'all are all tagged in this, and I can't wait to see your answers to these tag questions. And if you've already been tagged, just let me know in the comments below so I can go watch your video, because clearly I've missed it if I'm tagging you in this. So that does it for this tag. If you've enjoyed it, you guys know what to do. Be sure and give me a like, subscribe if you're not already subscribed, share, and comment. And if you don't have anything to say related to the questions in this tag, just leave me an emoji or a just a simple hi or hello or hey down below. That way I can say hi back to you. And as always, stick around for next week when I do another tag video. Until then, bye.